Well, folks, I get to go pick up my car. I got a phone call yesterday right before I went to work. I had to make a pit stop at a store right by my work. And as I'm walking out the door, my phone rings. I get a phone call from the dealership. And get out of the road, dog. Other dog. I get a phone call. My car's ready, so I had to leave a little early for work so I can go pay the bill, drop their car off, and pick it up. So, stay tuned. I'll put up a little something after I get it picked up. So, I had a thought just 5 minutes ago, and I will admit it is not fully fleshed out. Like, I haven't had time to think on it before recording, so if this is a little less than put together, I do apologize and just bear with me a little bit. But I think I may have finally figured out why everything is the way it is, as far as how all the knobs for social interaction are turned up to 11. And that is media coverage. I'm not going to blame it on biases, and because the thing is, whether you listen to CNN or Fox, both stations have their biases. Here's my gist on it. You can have certain people, like, give them a name and a face. I want to say Rashida Tlaib. It could be, I think it is Rashida Tlaib. Called Trump rallies. And if I'm wrong on that, please let me know. But I want to say it's Rashida Tlaib. She said that Trump rallies are like KKK marches and stuff like that. And then you've got the news that reports on it that he's Orange Hitler and that there's brown shirts and blah, blah, blah. And on the flip side of it, you've got people on the other side stating that those that are anything left of center want to take your guns away and want to take away your incentive to earn when you call someone Hitler. There's no need to talk to him because Hitler exterminated 6 million Jews on top of gypsies, homosexuals, and the physically infirm. We didn't attempt to negotiate with Hitler, we killed him. Or we were going to. And then he killed himself. So, there's no need to talk to Hitler. So, it's not a far leap to make, once you have someone start calling someone else Hitler, to call his supporters brown shirts. I get that. And if someone is warm to the idea of some socialism, it's not a far leap to call them supporters of Hugo Chavez or other radical socialist leaders. So anyway, like, I get the logical steps to get where everything's turned up to 11, but I don't get the motivation. especially from the media's perspective. In my opinion, the best discussions that you can have aren't the ones where someone is proven right or wrong, but where people learn things. I'm going to cite a podcaster that is very successful, Steven Crowder. How he does those Change My Mind segments. He will sit down in a public place. He's never confrontational in the sense that, raising his voice, getting loud, getting irritable, and chat with people about something that is politically controversial, I guess would be the way to put it. Some of the ones that I've enjoyed watching, There Are Two Genders, Changed My Mind. The Right to Self-Defense is a Human Right, Changed My Mind. The Second Amendment is good, Changed My Mind. Communism is evil, Changed My Mind. And he will sit down and talk with people. And he'll talk with them in a tone of voice that's very level, calm, and considerate. So, and the thing that's interesting about that is most oftentimes when these happen, the people that sit down to attempt to change his mind aren't, they're coming at him with a idea, not facts, and not statistics. So, for an example, the idea of socialism or communism does have a certain appeal to it. However, when you go to central planning via the government, it just doesn't work out right for those that aren't in political power. So they'll come at him with just imagine a world where everybody had enough money and, nobody made more based on doing, going to college or this or that. Everybody was treated the same and everybody had enough money to afford what they needed. Okay, that's actually a pretty decent idea, but it doesn't work out that way in reality. You've tried communism and socialism in countless countries, and it's always resulted in abject poverty at the bottom and abject suffering at the bottom. And so he comes at him with all these facts, and they've either got to agree to disagree or moderate a little bit on the hardcore socialist communist stuff. And one of the ones that he actually did like a behind the scenes take on it. It concerned, buying a gun, and actually took a couple people to go buy a gun, and they couldn't because of their background check. They weren't old enough, and one of them had it wasn't a felony, but a disqualifying misdemeanor on their record. So it's just, but they had intelligent conversations about their thoughts and opinions on things. And there have been a couple times where someone will come at Steven Crowder with something that he's unaware of, and he's either got to do some research or move their way a little bit on an issue. As an example, if you were to bring statistics to me that showed that increased social spending on things such as welfare, Social Security, Medicare, things like that, if you could bring proof that was good for a majority of the population, I would listen to you. I would, if you just said that with no proof, I would probably disagree, because the government's very bad at most things it does. So I want the government to have its hands on the fewest possible things as possible and still be able to function and do what it's supposed to do as a government. So I think that if people started sitting down and having calm, collected, informed discussions, and if someone comes at you with knowledge that you don't know and it disproves your assumptions, don't go getting all upset about it. Go learn some stuff. You know, one of the most interesting discussions that I've ever had was a guy that, well, my buddy Danny, he was somewhat anti-gun a few years back, and he's like, you know, I'm not a fan of guns, I don't think you should have them. And I said, I'm going to stop you right there. He goes, what do you mean? I said, well, I've had this discussion with a few people, and unless you know more than just what you'll hear on the news and data about firearms, I don't think that you are qualified to have a discussion or to make legislation. Whether if you are for what Oregon did, legalizing all the drugs, you better know what you're talking about, instead of just, well, we won't be putting junkies in jail. You better know what you're talking about. And if you're against it, you better know what you're talking about. If you're pro-gun, you better know what you're talking about. If you're anti-gun, you better know what you're talking about data-wise. So, don't be afraid to be educated on some stuff, I guess is the gist of this one. And something that I've done, that I've heard people talk about before, that they're a proponent of, stay informed by all means. You know, knowledge is power. Knowing what's going on in the world, especially today when everything's up in the air, is a fantastic thing. But I would highly advise you limit your consumption of network news on TV, because all they're going to do, no matter who you listen to, is get you irritated. I don't care if you are a Democrat listening to liberal biased media, if you're a Democrat listening to Fox, if you're a Republican listening to either one of those, it's going to get you irritated. So the way that I typically consume news is through podcasts. Due to my job, I can listen to a lot of podcasts a day. I can consume anywhere from 1 to 4 hours worth of news solid before I start to lose interest. And I'll listen to people that are more libertarian, more staunch Republican. I'll listen to people that are like left libertarian. I'll listen to people that are more left-leaning Democrat. So as long as you are not straight narrative peddling and, well, Trump lost the election, so therefore he must be a very bad orange man who's very bad, mean, and orange. Or, well, Trump had his lawsuit thrown out of court, so therefore the Democrats must be very bad and mean. As long as they're not doing that and sticking to facts, I'll listen to their spin on it, so long as they're not just married to a narrative that their party or their person can do no wrong. So, anyway, consume your news different, learn stuff, stay calm. Catch y'all next time. Thanks for tuning in to another Cruise of Smooth.